Greetings, Earthlings. My name is Zero Jake, and welcome back to Space Engineers. Now, you may notice that we're currently on a still frame because my computer's been acting up, and the first batch of recording was corrupted because it decided that my the drive in which I have all my recordings didn't exist midway through the recording. So that's fun. Everything's back to normal now, but I've lost the first part. The gist is, I accidentally crashed the rover. It was upside down. We had to go back for repairs. Then we desynced, so I skipped a lot of time. I basically spent a day away, and we're back to here. Enjoy. Okay, we are back. So it took me longer than expected in order to start doing this again, because my computer decided not to accept that one of my hard drives, the hard drive in which I throw all my recordings, all my YouTube stuff is located, thought that didn't exist for a while. So I've done some things. Most notably, I've done some mining and some construction so that we have a bunch of stuff. Now, I don't think we have the ability to use this silver or gold, because the basic refinery won't do that. I'm not sure what else it won't refine, but we're going to need to build a regular refinery at some point. Preferably soon. But anyway, the main thing that we're going to do today is we're going to upgrade our power supply yet again. It's like we do this every couple of episodes. So we're going to incorporate two things. First of all, we're going to place... hang on, let's do this properly, shall we? Thank you. We're going to place our solar panels in a more centralized position in the crater and at a bit more of an altitude so that it has more sunlight time, which means that we get more window for power. Second of all, we're going to set up some rotors so that it will tilt towards the sun as it goes across during the day, so that we can maximize the amount of power that we can get out of those solar panels. So for now, we're going to set up one tower based on this hill here. But later we could have multiple dotted around the edge of the crater. In addition, you might be able to notice that I've currently got all of my ore locations up. So you can see that there's a massive area here which I haven't scanned, and if we have a look, there's like a couple of deposits here and here that we haven't scanned. It may be a bit hard to see them because it's nighttime. Here it's daytime and we can have a look. But that's nothing that we need to worry about for now. So, first things first. We need to go grab some steel plate. And what's the first thing required? Steel plate. Okay. So we're going to need solar panels, rotors. We're going to be using regular rotors. Advanced rotors aren't required. And I believe that's it. Yeah. So
Energy low.
oh, come on. Yeah. So whilst my energy recharges here, I'll tell you about what I've done. So I've stuck a solar panel on top of the rover just so that we can get some passive energy gain. It only goes up to like 130 kilowatts, which is about the regular power usage. So either it can stop the battery going out entirely, or we can turn everything off and it can slowly recharge the battery. So if we have a look at the battery, we can see that we've got 175 kilowatt hours there, which is not much. If we were to start running this at regular, it'll run out in an hour or so, which is not what we want to do. So that's why everything is off. I managed to replace the oxygen generator. Now, the desync issue was hilarious because I rebooted the server, entered the game, and then I was moving around. I could see in the bottom left that my velocity was changing, but my camera, which was based on my character, wasn't. So I entered spectator, moved myself about a bit, and then there were two of me. I could move one of me around, but I couldn't see through it, and the other one doesn't move around, but I see through it. So I ended up killing myself by using the one that could act to grind the one that can't, and then killing myself again using the suicide button, and then that managed to fix all of the issues. Somehow. I don't know. Just weird things, I guess. Okay. So, we're gonna... How high do we want this? So the higher we go with this, the more clearance we have for our solar panels, and the more sunlight we'll get at the end. Okay? So first of all, the height of the solar panel is like... I'm going to need an accurate calculation here. So each solar panel is 4 long, so we're going to need it at least 5 tall. At least. We could have it 8 tall, or rather 9 tall, and so we can get 2 solar panels down this way, and then we can stretch it out ad nauseum. But I don't think that's going to be necessary. So if we have it... Okay, so let's say, for argument's sake, 2, 3, 4, 5. If we have it here, then it'll extend 4 down, which is bad, so we need 6, so that at least it goes to just above head height. So the lowest it will go is here. That should be fine, but I feel like I would like some more space with that. Which means that it will go up to here. Yeah, I think that should be fine. Okay, so now that we're here, first things first, we're going to get rid of this, for it is not necessary. We're going to place our first rotor. We are then going to place a light armor block, and we're going to place 2 more rotors. One placed here was 0 degrees facing towards us, and another placed here, 0 degrees facing towards us. And then we can place a line of armor blocks, like so. And then we can place solar panels above and below. So if we're going to have it this way... Actually, I remember how you set it up. No, not there. Damn it. Thank you. So you set up like this. Is it like that? I can't remember. But what you do is you have it alternating. Wrong. There we go. So you flip it around on the other side. Oh no, I haven't been doing this properly. Have I? Yeah, that's upside down. Sorry, give me a second. There's a style guide that I should be following. Which I am following, or at least trying to. This one hasn't followed, so I need to flip that around like so. And there we go. So we've got facing one side, facing the other. This is just so that no matter which orientation it's at, we still get a decent amount. And we can also flip them over properly to align them again. If I remember that that's the point. Right, so we have a few things to weld up. I believe I need some more large steel tube. Because I only have... Where is it? We only have 10, yeah. So let's go grab some more of that. Set up rotors. So we need 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Grab those. And start welding these up. Now, if there were enemies, and there probably are, who wanted to trash this solar tower, you could easily do it by poking out one of the blocks. And then it would collapse. And it would be catastrophic, but also quite hilarious. Not to say that I would ever dream of doing that to anyone else. I might have done that to someone else before. So we will need structural reinforcement on this thing at a later date. But for now, we should be fine with what we've got. I am going to reinforce the rotor parts, because they will take beatings, and we want to make sure that they don't take beatings. Because if the rotor part disappears, then all of the array goes. Well, if the rotor part and this first block here go, either of them go, then it's all going to collapse. The entire array. But if only one of the blocks in the middle collapses, it's fine because we've got solar panels supporting solar panels. We are going to need some more steel. And that should be everything else on that matter. Right. You're all welded, you're all welded, and you're all welded. Excellent. Okay, so that's that, and we have our solar panels down here, so I'm going to quickly transplant them over, and we'll be back in a second. Okay, we have transferred our solar panels from here to the newly built array. This array can support quite a bit of solar panels. Well, technically we can have them up to the width of the, up to the radius of the crater, but that's going to be a bit difficult because this isn't perfectly centralized. I'd have to do some calculations for that. But anyway, we now have our rotors in position. We have our solar panels built, which means that we can finally throw a script in there. So we're just going to wander along. And also, because we've moved it, we've freed up this place to build some stuff if we felt like it. Well, when we get round to it, I think should be the better way. Okay, so we're going to need another programmable block, as per usual. 2 large steel is all we need, because we've got the rest of them. 2 large steel, thank you. Going to need to go for some more iron at some point. And I believe the refinery is still working. Yeah, it's still working. We'll see if we can get the rest of it done. Anyway, thank you. Are you named? Yes, you are. I don't think you need to be named Tim. Programmable block Tim. Oh, you do. Oh well. That's perfectly fine. Right, so let's place this. Get the programmable block. Chuck it down here. Weld it up a bit. There we go. Right, programmable block, solar panels. Okay, so I believe I have the script I need in my workshop. Now, I remember using 2, and I can't remember which one I wanted. I think. So we've got solar max power. And then we've got Izzy's solar script, which I think is the one that, yeah, so this one's been updated more recently, so I think this is the one that I used before. Let's just double check. Create a group for all your solar panels, names related rotors and names solar rotors, so programmable block with the script, check code, remember and exit, and done. Game has to be experimental and in-game, which we are. Create a group of cockpit or flight seat called solar reference. Yep. Okay. Cool. Right. Let's copy that to editor. Check code. Right. So we need to create a group called solar rotors. Yes. Right. So let's grab our solar panels. No, not solar panels. Rotor. Solar rotors off in terminal. So if we do that, solar rotors being the group name. Build ST and add that to get more information about the base and current script actions. Okay, well, the only way we'll know whether this is working or not is, well, we can build the LCD panel, definitely. Let's go build an LCD panel. We're just spreading LCD panels everywhere. Right, let's do that. Grab the things, need 6 bulletproof glass. Oh, I don't need that. Right, let's stick a LCD panel here. Get that up and running. So we want LCD panel. What am I supposed to name it? No, it's not in here. It's browse scripts. Solar script. Gyro mode. Where was it? I can't remember. Basic setup. Oh, no. It's not here. It's in here. Keyword exclamation mark ISA main. Yes? Exclamation mark ISA main. Okay, so that looks like it's set up properly. Right, let's grind that down. Actually, I need to configure this. Font size 0.6 is fine. I wish it wasn't so blurry. That's my main problem. Get rid of the text padding, we don't need it. Okay, so let's have a look at what we're looking at. That's the military mine layer, we're fine for now. So we've got 4 solar panels, we've got no efficiency and no output at the moment. We've got statistics for batteries, we've got 1 battery. And then we've got dawn and dusk. So dawn is at 6, and dusk is at 18. It's inaccurate because it's still calculating. It will calculate dawn when they first start getting power, and dusk when they stop getting power, so we'll be able to see what our uptime and downtime is. So really, we have to wait for the better part of an hour for this to show up, because if we have a look at where the sun is currently, it's on the opposite side of the planet. Well, it's going to rotate round, and it's not really opposite, but we're closer to a pole than not, which is not the best thing in the world. Right, so I'm going to wait for a bit for that to happen, and we'll see each other when that happens. Yes. Meanwhile, I'm going to do other bits and pieces. So yeah, see you in a second. Okay, we are back after some progress. I've been working on creating a new rover that isn't the spawn ship, so that in case I need to use a respawn buggy, then the old one would disappear. So, slowly but surely working on that. I did some additional mining, took some damage to the buggy itself, lost a couple of pieces including a thruster. And then also I expanded this area and started building a refinery, an actual refinery, so that we can refine things. But the problem is, it's got a stupid amount of power in it, in comparison, in comparison to what the other one does. Well, it's not that stupid, but it does use quite a lot of power. Which, if we have a look at our battery, you'll see we have 0 lights. It's at 16.9%. Which is not good. However, the solar array is realigning. It is receiving power, and we should have daybreak at some point. Now, since we are in a crater, it's going to be quite a while until we can get that. Craters are not the best locations to put solar panels. Well, the rim of craters, yes. The center, no. Though, if you are going to be in a crater, then the center is probably the best area. Anyway, if we have a look at this, we can see that we're currently gaining 1.2 megawatts from our lovely solar panels, which is more than enough to start charging up our battery. So if we go over to the battery, we should see we're gaining 1.2 megawatt input and 353 output. Because the solar panels, even though the sun isn't hitting them yet, are working on getting the sun. Now this is weird. So they're getting the full amount of sun, despite the fact that we can't see it yet. I don't think that's intended, unless it's getting sunlight reflected off of the regolith. I doubt that. I doubt that very much. But yeah, so the script is currently trying to align to see where the best area is. But if it's bugging out like this, then that may be a bit difficult to work out. Let's have a look at what the screen is telling us. So it's still calculating dawn and dusk. It's aligning the rotors now, but we are making 90. We're at 100% efficiency now. We can see up here we've got 100% efficiency in our output, which means that we don't need to rotate the panels anymore. Yes, and we're using 100% of our output. We've got 1.2 megawatts in and 0.35 megawatts out. which gives us quite the surplus. So we should be able to charge the battery quite easily. Now the question is, are we now producing too much power? No. I don't think we are, because fully charged in 3 hours, and it's going to take, well, we're not going to have sunlight for 3 hours. Yeah, so the reason why we have more power is because I threw more solar panels on. Surprise, surprise, that does the job. Yes, so we're just waiting for sunlight to deign us with its presence. So if we aim our camera here. So here's the thing, right? If we just took out this massive chunk, right, and then on the same vein we look at dusk and take out another massive chunk, we can increase our uptime just by getting rid of some stone. Something to think about anyway. If I'd made this a couple blocks tall, it would start getting direct sunlight, which is something that we want to do. So over the course of several solar cycles, this will be able to tell us exactly when dawn and dusk are. I think. And also, if we need additional power, then we could just slam more solar panels on there. But currently that's an uptime of an input of 1.3 megawatts over, I'd probably say 30-40% of the time, which averages out to between 300-400 kilowatts over time, over the hour on average, which is not particularly what we want. We're going to want a bit more power than that. Yeah. Because at current rate, if we continue consuming power at this rate, and the rate that I estimate that we get it, then we have a net deficit ish. And that's only having the reactor on, the refinery online, the basic one. If we have the larger one online, then it's going to cost us more. If we have assemblers online as well, it's going to cost us more. Speaking of refineries, we've still got our refinery chipping. Our refinery's chipping away at the ores that we've gathered. Went out and gathered some more iron, because this thing costed a lot. There we go. We should now have the sun. Okay, apparently it's 7:10. Yep. They're not going to be realigning because they're aligned. Yes. So basically all we need to do now to increase our power is just stick more solar panels on here, which is relatively simple. We can probably slap a solar panel on the end here, covering these two. And that will probably be the max of what we can get at this altitude, because they can flip completely over, and then we just extend it outwards until it's like a massive sweep that goes around. Probably not the best idea, because that limits how high our things can be. But we can also add additional, so we can increase the height of this tower and then add additional arrays on the tower itself. Noting that all of them are going to be facing the same direction anyway, so it's not going to change that much. So that's another way that we can increase our solar power. So apart from solar power, we've got 3 other forms of gaining electricity. We've got wind, which there's no atmosphere here, that's not going to work. We've got hydrogen, which so we use a hydrogen engine like we're using on the buggy, but if we do that, then we're going to need a stupid amount of ice in order to keep things running. And then we've got uranium, which is completely fine and is what most people use when they get uranium. The problem is that we can't get uranium on the moon. We have to go into space to get it. which is not the best. Especially since the amount of uranium we need in order to maintain a supply is a bit more than what we can get on this thing. Especially since this needs its own ice supply in order to fly about. Well, I guess if we change out all of the engines, all of the thrusters for ion thrusters, then that should be fine. And that just requires us getting platinum, which, if you haven't noticed, we do have a platinum mine. Yes. Okay. There we go. The full majesty. I'm probably going to grab a screenshot whilst I can. No, move it. Thank you. Hang on. So I do this approach. It's a bit dark. What captures it? I think that works. Let's just move in a bit closer. There we go. That's the thumbnail. Okay, so with that online, we should be able to do some good things. I'll expand it as required. I'll also expand our capacitance as required as well, because the more power we have here, the more capacitance we need in order to keep up with the demand. So we can last 3 megawatt hours total. Well, we can store 3 megawatt hours, which means over the course of an hour we can stay at 3 megawatts and still be fine-ish. Well, you won't be fine. You'll need to charge it up again. It'll output at 12 megawatts maximum. And considering 30 to 40% of that time is gaining power, which means, let's go conservative and say 60% of the time we're going to be consuming power only from this. I mean, I could use a calculator instead of doing it mentally. I could. It is something that I can do. Right. So, we can get 3 megajoules. So we can store 3 megawatt hours, which in megajoules... No, I don't want that. So 3 kilowatt hours... No, 3 megawatt hours is 10,800 megajoules. And for some reason I'm calculating it in megajoules for no reason. Dividing that by... Like 3 megawatt hours over an hour, which means we've got 3 megawatts. 3 megajoules over that hour. However, that hour is divided by... Well, is divided by... times by 0.6, so we divide 3 by 0.6. Yes, so we can support 5 megawatts worth of stuff with this battery alone. So every 5 megawatts of power we need to supply, as in our upper limit of power that we're using, we need another battery. And we also need to make sure that all those batteries are completely filled, or that they have a net gain of power with our power gen. So if we're using 5 megawatts, then we're going to need a stupid amount of solar panels. Is the inkling. Okay, so yeah, we've built a solar tower. We slammed a LCD screen here. We did some mining. We got a refinery, and yeah, we're in a bit of a better position. So I'm going to hook up this refinery. Probably stick some power efficiency modules and some speed modules so that we can refine our backlog. Probably produce a couple more assemblers, and then the next things that we need to start dealing with is. We need a better way to mine, because mining by hand is painful. So either building a mining ship or a mining rig over a deposit. Mining ship would probably be better for space-based operations, and the rig better for planetary. Probably need to... How full are we? Not that full. Okay. Probably need to weld all of this up and start making it look a bit more snazzy. Build a medical facility and cryopod and a battery or what have you, and another survival kit. Probably need to build a few more survival kits if we get a lot of stone incoming, because I've currently got it to just create ingots from stone, which is a much better use for stone than just making gravel, though we will have to make gravel when we start making reactor components. Yes. Yeah, and once we've done that, we should be in a good position. But until then, my name has been Zero Jake. End transmission.